What it do, dirtbags? I'm back at it again. I have a habit of saying this, but I am very sad that it took so long to come out with this video. I've just been working so hard in the mines, trying to mine up some slop to lay onto your table. It's gonna be a big old pile of slop and everybody's gonna love it. But that big pile of slop is gonna take some major time to come out. It's gotta cook, it's gotta really brew in there, so I figured why not build some momentum in preparation for that with this video. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat things. This might be the most excited I've ever been to record something. See, I've got the opportunity so many times to talk about the people I hate most on these platforms. H3, Vosh, Kafal, Hassan, but one has always eluded me. One I've been building data on, but haven't had the chance to really lay out and explain why I hate him so much. But this week I've been given a massive boon, and it finally seems as if I'm going to be able to spread my hatred with all of you. So please, come with me and allow me to explain precisely why I hate the streamer known as Destiny. First off, as always, I suppose I should explain exactly who I'm talking about. See, in ancient primordial times, there was a dark wizard, a man who only sought the destruction of others, and he decided to unleash upon the world his perfect creation, a mixture between insolence and arrogance. He would name his magnificent creation Destiny. Now, Destiny first broke his way into the online landscape by playing a little game called StarCraft, which is actually where my hatred for him began. But I'm not gonna get into that because it's real nerdy, and let's just say he wasn't very bourgeois. But in modern times, Destiny is best known for being a political Twitch streamer, which happens to be the absolute worst kind of Twitch streamer. I'd sooner use a claw hammer to rip out my teeth like nails before watching Hassan Piker and Nick Fuentes unironically. All of this is to say, I do not hate Destiny because of his political beliefs, I just hate politics being discussed on the internet in general, just the way it's executed, just the discussions it leads to. It's always so insufferably dumb and I cannot stand it, so please do not look for a political message within my videos. You absolutely will not find it, and if you do, you're schizophrenic. That's enough preamble out of the way, so why don't we get into the reasons I decided to make this video now. You see, this week Destiny had a couple of his funny little Discord chats get leaked, so why don't we go over those? Let's start silly and then ramp up. In this first image you'll see, there's a relatively tame amount of degeneracy, nothing that I could really judge a person for that harshly, especially not someone who's openly about it in that sort of way. Just two pals in a Discord chat discussing anally inserted plugs. Now, I know what you're thinking, but right now we have no word about the age of the other person in these chats, so that's not necessarily what we're getting at here. Just an awkward, relatively degenerate conversation, standard for a man of this pedigree. Then we ramp up a bit with the discussion about the aforementioned plugs being used on livestream, but that's about it. I mostly bring this up because Destiny in the past said on Twitter that pornography addiction is like conspiracy theories for women, so that's pretty funny that a guy who doesn't believe in pornography addiction would be doing this, because it's kind of the addiction equivalent of stealing copper wire out of your neighbor's walls, or licking your friend's phone because they have a couple specks of party powder still stuck to the screen and you gotta taste them. But let's move on to the funnier leaks. The next exhibit here is an instance of a little bit of a homoerotic discussion, nothing necessarily wrong with that as long as you're exclusively talking to consenting adults, but this one particularly points to a bit of a conspiracy theory that me and many others share. This one is just mildly alluding to it, but it's a sort of building, it's set dressing for what is to come, because I have an edit here that I stole off of Twitter that points to exactly what I'm getting at.
Okay. Why are you hanging out with children? Well, you know, they're hotter.
Based. Let's fucking go. That's why we love him. That's why we love this guy.
Now let's break down what's going on here. The guy on the left is the guy I was joking about earlier, Nick Fuentes. He's a bit of a very far-right type of political influencer online. I hate him almost as much as I hate Destiny. Probably it would be equal, but he's just got less exposure, so he's not as annoying just because I don't have to see him as much. But they came together at a certain point in August of 2022, did a little bit of an IRL collaboration livestream, and the video is suggesting to the conspiracy theory that I'm alluding to. As you saw, the messages in the video indicate that Destiny had a bit of a homoerotic experience in early August of 2022, and later in August ended up streaming with Nick Fuentes. Now, if you're not holding a crack pipe and wearing tinfoil, you might not see exactly what's going on here. You're probably thinking, hey, these dates don't really align, so what are you trying to get at here? It's simple, really. Me and many others believe that Nick Fuentes and Destiny met up early in the month, slapped uglies, and then later went on to stream together. But Crucimix, there's no proof. Why are you even saying this? Because it's really funny and it's not even that improbable. I mean, look at these two lovebirds just staring lovingly into each other's eyes. Isn't that kind of great? Isn't that pretty funny? Plus, it would recontextualize their later falling out, because if you think of it less as Nick Fuentes biting the hand that feeds, and instead as a jilted lover on the part of Destiny, it becomes so much funnier. I mean, watch this clip with that idea in mind and tell me you can't see it.
And and Fuentes' treatment of me is so bad. I don't understand. That's something he'll have to learn and grow. Not to sound like not to be too self-aggrandizing, but like Fuentes should be worshiping me, because I am literally I was the only lifeline that he had to like being able to breach like mainstream political conversations. Like I represented a huge potential opportunity to him.
I've seen people talk about ex-girlfriends in the exact same way so many times. But why is it funny? Crucemix, are you just homophobic? No, you're not getting it. It's not funny because they're homosexual. It's funny because two of the most nauseating, opposing political extremists might have done the dirty deed together. But again, mostly just wild speculation. It's not like these leaks provide any real proof that Destiny had an affair with one of these far-right political influencers. Gulp, you're gonna want to see this.
And then he said that I got jealous because they streamed so much. That's not really what happened. I feel like it's pretty clear to who is not being honest here of what actually happened. There's so many things, and so many people that have said what happened. And if he wants to deny that, fine.
Yeah, so it seems that Destiny probably got up to some funny business with Lauren Southern, who is another far-right political influencer. With the amount of times I've said far left and far right, I just know this comment section's gonna suck. Nah, who am I kidding? I'm not getting any views on this. I haven't uploaded in like 5 months. Anyway, that clip was Destiny's wife. That came out a little bit before this situation, but these DMs that we have between him and Lauren Southern kind of corroborate the things that she's implying. Pretty dirt nasty, but infidelity is nothing new to Destiny. You like that? That was a little transition I'm using to get you away from the leaks and into the other reasons I despise Destiny. I don't think YouTube's gonna let me get away with saying the word I want to say. You all know what the word is. 4 letters, begins with a C, ends with a K, that kind of thing. It's gonna make this section a little bit difficult to get through, but we ball. So let's just call this section consensual infidelity. Destiny happens to be a big advocate for such degeneracy. Now let me show you a couple examples. Here we have Destiny having a little bit of a political spat on Twitter, very common for him. He said, "I'd rather watch my wife get railed 10,000 times than betray my family in Ukraine by throwing them under the bus to win an internet debate, you coward. Next time you moderate a debate, brush your teeth first so we don't have to smell the load of Putin on your breath." Don't know why I gave him that voice, but I think it's because I associate the British with this kind of statement. Next, we have him responding to Ludwig, who said, "Yeah, that's a picture of my girlfriend who I love. How's your wife?" Very fair question. Destiny responded, "Don't worry, with the technology we have now, pretty soon we can all love her. Hey, maybe one day you'll even be able to deepfake a personality." What I'm getting at here is that Destiny's wife had a lot of fun with other guys besides him, and Destiny was very militant about the fact that he's supportive of it. Defensive, some might say.
I don't give a if my girlfriend goes and another guy, because I know she's coming back to me at the end of the night. Because we love each other. Because I'm a cool person. I know that. If I'm not gonna gatekeep the out of who my girlfriend, do you think I'm gonna chase you around?
Well, I can't believe this. They're telling me this for the first time. Apparently, that relationship just did not work out. I can't believe it. What went wrong? Maybe Destiny can shine some light on this. I was gonna read this out loud, but it's just cope. Supposedly his wife ran off with a guy that he accused of being abusive and manipulative and stuff. Later, Destiny's ex said, "Nothing could prepare you for when the man who begged for feet pics let you scratch him until he bled and asks you to let him eat your boyfriend's excretions out of your extremities goes viral for cheering on the flatlining of a random firefighter at Trump's almost unaliving." I hate modern YouTube, man. Having to dance around these words is so infuriating. Anyway, if you could read what was on screen or decipher the word salad I just threw at you, you would have realized the level of degeneracy this man is capable of is beyond anything I can comprehend. But what was that thing she mentioned about a firefighter, am I right? Okay, so now, as you may remember if you weren't living under a rock, the current president-elect Donald Trump was almost flatlined at his own rally a few months ago. And in the crossfire, an individual lost his life. Now, I think regardless of your political views, or whether or not you're a sociopath like I am, you could probably discern that such an event is a bad thing and not a good or neutral thing. You'd have to be really out of touch with humanity and terminally online if you disagreed with that, right? Well, let's hear what Destiny has to say about it.
Conservatives have been disgusting for years, which is why I don't give a about anybody that winds up at any of these rallies and gets shot or whatever the okay? Because they had no problem making fun of Paul Pelosi. The entire world would be better off if these people were permanently removed from these platforms. Like, there is no downside and only upside to see people like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Tim Pool never be allowed to publicly broadcast their opinions ever again. It's exclusively bad stuff that happens.
Hold on, let's see that again, but overlaid with the leaks from earlier.
Conservatives have been disgusting for years, which is why I don't give a about anybody that winds up at any of these rallies and gets shot or whatever the okay? Because they had no problem making fun of Paul Pelosi. The entire world would be better off if these people were permanently removed from these platforms. Like, there is no downside and only upside to see people like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Tim Pool never be allowed to publicly broadcast their opinions ever again. It's exclusively bad stuff that happens.
Alright, I think you get the idea of what kind of character we're dealing with here, but I want you to see exactly how annoying he is in his quote-unquote debates.
Yeah, but you prefer,
when
no,
you
but
are
Destiny,
in a
let me explain
world
to you.
where conservatives can say anything.
No, I'm not a
They can
conservative.
have any conspiracy theories.
I'm not a
They
conservative.
can have any plot. They can do any of these things, and then liberals are
All right,
supposed to sit
Destiny,
here and be like,
Destiny,
"Oh my
no.
God, it's so tragic."
No, Destiny.
Absolutely not.
Let me explain.
Absolutely.
Let me explain my position, because I'm not a conservative. I'm not on either side in your race, right? Here's what I think about what you did. You'd like to fire off, as you've done so far in this debate, about your fury at how disgusting Republicans are, how inhumane they are, how they never have any empathy, blah, 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 blah. And then you yourself actually are exactly the person that you're describing. You are inhuman. You are somebody who seems almost gleeful that a young firefighter with a family, with a wife and children, who he was protecting as he was shot dead, that he deserved what was coming to him because he went to a President Trump rally, a man who was president of the United States until recently for 4 years and maybe again. You sound almost gleeful, Destin, and I'm sorry, that makes you, frankly, despicable.
I don't think I'm gleeful.
Oh, he's not gleeful, that's good. I'm glad he's not gleeful, but here's an image of him being pretty joyous, pretty jolly, not gonna lie. This kind of thing is just disgusting, and he made so many posts about it at the time. And I'm not gonna lie, or pretend to you that I wouldn't be okay with someone joking about someone passing away. I do that kind of thing all the time. That's perfectly acceptable in my book. But the thing about making jokes like this is you have to have tact, you have to have timing, you have to get all that to the T so that you don't step on any toes or make a joke that's overall just butthurt political nonsense, and Destiny really doesn't understand that because he's not funny and he's very smooth-brained. Not a lot of edges or ridges on that brain of his. Such is the fate of the depleting gray matter of every individual gooner, never goon. And no, it doesn't cease. He continued and continued, even against his own fans. One such individual had a friend who was in the audience with his mother whenever the whole thing went down. And unfortunately for his mother, she was in the splatter section. See, that's how you do that joke. Anyways, this guy was on Reddit saying how he was obviously going to take a break from Destiny because that was kind of gross of him to say the things that he was saying, and Destiny couldn't help himself but to respond by saying, "Don't ever come back, tell your friend and his mom to get fornicated." Now, Destiny apparently has some conservative parents, so someone asked a question on one of his streams, and here's how he reacted.
How about your parents? If they get their brains blown out at a rally, would you have the same attitude? They are democracy-hating insurrectionists, after all. One, you permaban for asking a stupid question, because the obvious answer two is, listen, they're adults. They make their own fucking decisions. If you want to support an insurrectionist president, then whatever comes of that that's your consequences. Again, it's not a fucking joke. My mom is an immigrant to the United States of America. She was 5 years old. Her parents worked really hard to get her here. She served for 20 years in the Air Force, along with my dad. They know exactly what they're doing. They should know exactly what they're supporting. It was my mom that, ranted at me for over a decade about how evil the USSR and Putin and all the Chi-Coms and all that shit. So whatever, if they go to a rally and they whatever the fuck, it's less end-of-life cost for me to deal with. It's on them. That's their decision. You think I'm going to fucking lose sleep over that? No. We all have our own paths to walk in life. We all have our own decisions to make.
There's a lot of discussion online about brain rot, but what is truly underappreciated is the rotting of the soul that seems to plague individuals such as this. I mean, it would seem that Destiny doesn't even have the slightest regard for his own blood relatives, his family, a trend that you'll find is not exclusive to his parents. Here's a quote from his son. "I've learned more about my dad on his wiki page than I have in person." That's pretty foreboding, pretty bleak. Let's see how else he's doing. Oh, it says he got banned on Twitch. I wonder why. Violent threats? Against who? Oh, against his own dad. Oh. Now, to round out this section, I have a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. See, what I lack in empathy, I make up for in pride. And one thing I'm very proud of is the Appalachian Mountains. A beautiful place, maybe the most beautiful place in the world. My eyes, it definitely is. Now, on Twitter, a certain individual was talking about his mother. He said, "My mom hasn't had power in days. She lives in the Carolinas and has a heart condition. I wish all those taxes I paid the past couple of years went there and not to other countries." Now, again, I am going to try and avoid getting too political here because it's not really my forte, nor something I'm interested in. But this hurricane was incredibly brutal, and it took out some of the most beautiful land in the world, and took away the lives of many people, took away the livelihoods of others, took away the homes of many, and was so unforgiving that most of the people who still survive will take years to recover if they ever recover. It was Hurricane Katrina for the mountain men of the Carolinas, but even worse because these houses simply were not made to deal with any amount of water to this degree. And to say the least, the people I've interacted with found that the aid of the government was not exactly up to par. And this guy, Donut Operator, is not the only person I've seen who's pointed out the fact that the Ukraine effort has been given literal billions, meanwhile it was kind of unsubstantial for the Carolinas. Actually, I know a lot of people in real life who have pointed that out. All of that is to say, Destiny's response here was so out of touch and blood-boiling that it's actually driving me insane. He responded by saying, "It's actually so gross when grifters use and abuse their family members to make nonsense political points." Yeah, Destiny would never ever do that. He would never use his family members in an abusive way to make nonsensical political points. He definitely didn't do that 5 minutes ago. He continued to say nothing we spend in Ukraine has any bearing whatsoever on authorizing federal spending. That was already authorized anyway. Cute pic though, hope your mom doesn't mind you using it for your political propaganda. Incredible. Beautiful. There was something wrong with literally every word he said. At this point, you really gotta question his credibility. Okay, so far I've talked about the leaks, I've talked about his degeneracy, and I've talked about his lack of spiritual fortitude, but now I think it's time to get into his credibility and overall ignorance. So, a little over a year ago now, Destiny had a pretty bad week in terms of credibility. See, Destiny happens to lack a lot of cerebral depth, but he talks in such a way and with such arrogance that he fools a foolish man into believing that he's smart. He's the 30 IQ man's idea of a genius. And in that time frame last year, on Twitter, an individual decided to catalog all of the major mistakes Destiny had made, and the amount of ignorance is staggering. It's hard to believe that Destiny's fans aren't watching him for the same reason that people watch Chris Chan. So, in that week, Destiny did the following. No show to debate with Norm Finkelstein, never heard of Franco, mistook Erdogan for Assad, thought Erdogan was president of Israel, he thought the Bible was written in Arabic for some reason, failed the US state map quiz, supported the genocide of Palestine, and then couldn't find Israel on a map. That's a lot to take in. I'm gonna need some video proof of all that.
I don't know who Francisco Franco is, but he must be a fucking
You
loser.
don't know Francisco Franco?
He's got $2 supporters.
Bruh.
$2 supporters.
يخدمون القضية
Bashar al-Assad, is that this guy?
الفلسطينية والقضية الفلسطينية
No.
هي الأولى عندهم.
Fuck, wait, who is this? Who are these people? Fuck, am I just supposed to know?
والقضية الفلسطينية هي الأولى
This isn't him.
عندهم.
Oh, Erdogan.
القدس هي هدف.
Is it Erdogan? Erdogan? I don't know what the fuck to pronounce this guy's name. When did he become president of Israel?
or Yahweh.
Were the Gospels originally written in Greek?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not Arabic or whatever, or
No, they're
Or-
written in Koine Greek.
what was the
yes.
Jewish fucking old shit?
Well, Hebrew, and
Hebrew,
there was
yeah.
some Aramaic in the Old Testament as well. Yeah.
Okay, Aramaic, gotcha.
Yeah, but mostly Hebrew. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it. All right, okay. Not too bad. Not too bad. Do Europe? Bro, I don't even know half the countries in Europe. Okay. Denmark. Denmark. Denmark really owns this? That's so wild. Why? Honestly, I'm pro-genocide. It sounds really shitty, but like I think that Israel should just drop its fucking borders about where it is now, and basically Palestinians can go live in another place. That's really shitty, but like that's about where I'm at. With this whole thing, or the light green is Palestina. Wait, what light green? Oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong area. This is Turkey. Oh, here, okay. Ugh.
So you're telling me this arrogant elitist type who actively tells people that their politics are wrong and that they should literally lose their lives as a result of it. You're telling me that guy lacks an understanding of not only modern events but basic history? You're telling me that a man who was raised Catholic somehow didn't know that the scriptures were written in Greek originally? A man who for some reason has taken a side in the whole Palestine-Israel thing and doesn't even know where Israel is on a map. This degree of ignorance is genuinely baffling, especially for a political individual. I don't have a cute transition statement this time. This next section's just gross. Alright, before I get started on this one, I just want to say I'm not making any allegations or anything. I'm not saying he's definitively this or that or the other, but these jokes and things that he's saying are not great. They're not good. They're pretty bad here. At best, they're just jokes, right? And at worst, they not like us. Also, I'm gonna probably power through a lot of this section because most of this is not being read in my voice. I just do not have the stomach nor the desire to have my voice read certain words like this. So first we have here a little interaction Destiny had that is probably a joke, but I can't find the punchline for the life of me. But it does raise the interesting question of why would you ever say this? You're about to be asking yourself that question quite a bit, so here's some clips.
Bro, they were trying to call you a pedo yesterday.
So, some kids are really
they
hot.
dug in deep.
Oh.
It happened in the same day that I was getting accused of wanting to kill babies, like wanting to snipe them or whatever. Fucking Israel.
Some babies are really annoying.
But it's like, how's it that we're both aligned then? If like you want to fucking kids and I want to kill them.
I'm a necrophilic pedophile.
That's the holy fucking sentence.
After you, I have my way with them.
Jesus.
Because I shared a picture of a chick that I said, look at this hot jailbait, that makes me a pedophile?
I'm sure some people will try and defend that last clip, but why would you ever try and tell that story? And why would you tell it in front of millions of people? Now all these are just odd statements, weird things for a person to say, but this last clip I have for this section is really eyebrow raising. Also, I know this is just Crucemix the Clip Show episode, but I really needed all this data and information to be in one place, so if someone asks me why I hate Destiny, I could just point to a singular location.
I don't like predators, period. I don't care if you're offending or not offending.
Okay, hold on. Who disagrees with Brittany? Who disagrees with Brittany?
What, if you just because you molest a child doesn't
I
make you a
don't disagree
pedophile?
with
That's
her.
not.
Yes, it does. Yes, it.
If you just because you molest a child doesn't
I
make you a
don't disagree
pedophile.
But yeah, just like Vosh, Destiny has said a lot of really weird things. In a vacuum, I can understand people brushing it off, but the fact that this keeps happening makes it weirder and weirder that no one ever bats an eye or says anything. Speaking of Destiny saying weird things. Yeah, that segue doesn't really work after such a bleak section.
Got some Skippy, rub it on my balls, smear it real good.
Alright, so to end things off, we have a couple weird random things that Destiny has said, some dumb ideas, some just random annoying nonsense. Here we have Destiny in his natural habitat, equating the consumption of animal flesh to zoophilia for some reason. And there he goes, on the prowl. He does it again, with an even longer diatribe for no reason. Let's look into this macabre manifesto. First, we have a news story of an incredibly disgusting individual. Then in the quote retweets, we have a person discussing what punishment should befall this man for his crimes against nature. Immediately, Destiny leaps into action and says, nods affirmingly between bites of cheeseburger. Another person replies, are you pretending that eating beef for sustenance is worse than, bovine necrophilia? If so, that's completely brain dead. And of course Destiny had to respond, but how exactly should he? Was it an incredibly genius, well-articulated, and nuanced opinion? No, it never is. Destiny said, you don't need beef for sustenance, you eat it for pleasure, you force cows from birth into factory farming, yada yada yada. I just think it's funny to celebrate all that and then act indignant when someone wants to take a cow to Pound Town, but hey, you do you, chief. It's incredible that this man somehow survives through the crushing weight of his own stupidity. Truly the living embodiment of pseudo-intellectualism. He's like Brian Griffin with brain damage. He's like the auditory version of the nerd emoji. He's kinda like if you took all the worst attributes of Vosh, Hassan, Kafals, and H3 and then rolled them up into a singular person. Next we have Destiny calling the US presidential election in favor of Harris, pretty funny. And would you look at that, Hassan doesn't even like Destiny these days. Finally, we have a nice little ratio to end things off on. Gotta say, this video has been incredibly fun to make. Recording a longer video like this after a long time of not even recording just feels nice, it feels right. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, or maybe you just enjoyed my voice, why don't you riz your way down to that subscribe button and hawk to a spit on that thing. Leave a like and check out my Twitter if you feel like it. Thank you so much for watching. My name is, has been, and will be Crucifix in the foreseeable future. I love you. Goodbye.
See it the way Toonami could never give it to you, with nudity and more violence. You'll pay for that, you worm! Outlaw Star, available now on DVD.